And I remember waking up and I came to my wife and I said, hey, I'm going to take myself into the hospital. And she was like, she goes, why? And I said, well, I just don't feel right. She pricked my finger with a blood strip, and I just remember her face just went pale. And she goes, we got to get to the hospital. And I go, why? She goes, we just got to go. We got married, and then just like most married couples, right? Got comfortable and the weight came on. And so when I got married, I was about 220 pounds. I think for Polynesian, that's maybe on the lighter side, right? The smaller side. And was very active, got married and just got comfortable and stopped being active as like I used to be. And we moved here to Utah, and then the weight just kept coming on. And when we were, and I think it was the year before COVID, I'd really just, I was pushing up close to 400 pounds. And so I had all this weight, and my wife, she was always in my ear, just pleading with me, honey, I don't want to be a widow. Please, like, I need you to do something about your health. And, you would naturally just think that she was like, I need to do it for me and the kids. And you would think that would be motivating, right? You think that would be inspire you to make the changes. And it wasn't doing anything for me. And I noticed as I was at this point of a time in my life where my health was just spinning out of control, I noticed that I was starting to have symptoms. And the funny thing is, I knew what the symptoms were. I was in complete denial, as if those symptoms weren't taking place, but they were coming on stronger and stronger. And then I eventually came back from California one trip, and I just didn't feel right. And I remember waking up, and I came to my wife and I said, hey, I'm going to take myself into the hospital. And she was like, she goes, why? And I said, well, I just don't feel right. And then I asked her, I said, your dad's, how he tests his blood, tests his, to test the sugar levels in his blood. Could you do that for me? And she's like, why would you need to do that? And I go, could you do it? And I'll never forget it. She pricked my finger with a blood strip. And I just remember her face just went pale. And she goes, we got to get to the hospital. And I go, why? She goes, we just got to go. And, she later on explained to me that, she goes, remember her dad had just had a stroke, just a few months prior to that. And it was because his sugar levels were up in the 200s, where mine was in the 300s. And, and so we went into the emergency room. They tested me again, and they're like, let's go. They rushed me back, got me on this insulin drip, and to just try to get the numbers down. We were there all day. We had a lot of doctors come in and dietitians. They were just trying to explain to me, like, hey, you officially you have diabetes now. And so they were explaining these things to me, and then the doctor was with me, and it's what I remembered the most from the visit is he said, Tony, you're carrying a lot of weight, and don't quote me, don't quote this as scripture, but I just truly believe in my heart that if you can drastically drop weight, there might be a chance that you can reverse these symptoms and and that's the only thing I remember about that whole experience in the hospital was those words. I made a decision in my mind when I left that hospital that I was going to put that to the test. And so I came back, went cold turkey, just went in and it just really ate clean, cut out all the sugar. And it was, when I started to drop weight, and it was during this time COVID hit.